President Joe Biden, who I feel is the definition of a leader at this time. There's a 50-plus country coalition supporting the people of Ukraine. And not all those countries are of the same mindset. And yet they are united around a unity of purpose and a shared definition of the challenge. And I feel that President Joe Biden is the architect of that. And to work for him and to be President Biden's personal representative in Poland at this time is my highest honor.
Thank you very much for what you did for my country. What is your assessment of current relations between Warsaw and Washington? How you find it?
My assessment in terms of the special friendship between America and Poland is that we have never been as meshed together, Bogusław, as we are now. The friendship stems 200 plus years. For hundreds of years, Americans have fought for Polish freedom and Poles have fought for American freedom, going back to Tadeusz Kościuszko and Kazimierz Pulaski. We live at a time when America and Poland share the same freedom. And our agenda, our common agenda, is supporting the people of Ukraine. So we're here in Poland, in Karpaczu, at a time when there are more than 10,000 American soldiers in Poland, spread out all across the country, not by accident, standing shoulder to shoulder with the Polish military to make sure that an operational reality is what President Joe Biden requires, and that is that every square inch of NATO territory, including Poland, of course, will be safe and secure.
We believe it very much. How important is the war in Ukraine for the current U.S. foreign policy?
Well, the war in Ukraine is in many ways it's defined as the collision between democracy and autocracy, in the sense that you have a vicious foreign attacker in the heart of Central Europe. The video coming out of Ukraine is reminiscent of World War II, and you have a coalition of nations, of democratic states supporting the people of Ukraine, and they are winning. And what is at stake is in many ways the success of democracy, and I feel that the Ukrainian people will win. And that will be a transformational moment, because when the Ukrainian people win, it will be the biggest endorsement of political democracy and free market economy in 100 years. And there I want to point to something I said last night in my acceptance speech, when I pointed to a moment pregnant with possibility for the Polish people. And that is the transformation and rebuilding of Ukraine and that part of Europe that wants to rejoin Europe. It'll be a remarkable opportunity for the Polish people who have sacrificed so much since the outbreak of the war. And my advice in my speech last night is to begin to get organized, to begin to get ready for that moment now. It'll be especially a big opportunity for the next generation in Poland who deserves it so darn much.
Yeah. How and when this war should be coming to the end, and maybe we have in Department of State somewhere in Washington some alternative scenarios.
Well, I feel the Ukrainian people, meter by meter, yard by yard, are winning. But Ukraine is a big country, and it will take some time. But the time to start getting prepared, for what Secretary of State Tony Blinken said, for Ukraine not just to survive, but to thrive, is now. And I feel that America, Poland, and other countries are already beginning to do that through discussions on what it is that we can do together.
Shall we work on the enlargement of NATO? And which countries will be ready soon for such enlargement?
You know, my president spoke about the readiness of countries for membership in NATO at the NATO summit in Vilnius. And so I'm not going to say anything more about that other than a country truly has to be ready for membership to become a member. But I also feel that if there ever was, Bogusław, if there was ever a moment that shows that collective defense works, that moment is now. Because Poland is safe and secure. The thesis of NATO enlargement in the 1990s would be that we would expand NATO into an eastern flank to make sure the transatlantic community is safe. Can you imagine if Poland was not in NATO today? I lived in Poland 32 years ago, before it was a member of NATO. Poland was anxious and it was uncertain. This morning, what is it?
We feel safe.
We feel safe. That is a beautiful statement. This morning, the third day of school in Poland, kids are going to school, people are going to their businesses, going to work. Poland is a normal country on the edge of a war zone. It shows that collective defense works. A tremendously strategically smart and good investment by America and by the members of NATO to do that enlargement.
How do you see the Polish-US military collaboration?
The Polish-US military collaboration is as meshed together as two members of an alliance can be. We speak the same technological language in the sense that we're ever increasingly using the same equipment. I was in Kielce yesterday at the MSPO convention for defense products, and the equipment that is being transferred by the Americans to Poland, our state-of-the-art Abrams tank, the Apache helicopter, F-35s, HIMARS, this is the equipment that we use around the world in our most sensitive theaters, and we are giving it all to the Poles. It shows the level of trust the American military has in Poland. The training that is being done, I have a calendar in my office at the U.S. Embassy in Warsaw of the training schedule between the Americans, the Poles, and other NATO pact countries in the course of 2023. It is elaborate, it is regular, it is intensive, and it is geared to getting ready for every and any contingency that any potential adversary could throw across the border here in Poland.
Do you think the Polish business, military sector is ready or will be ready soon for offset in these projects?
Well, the offset programs are being used, frankly, for the F-35 and for other transfers now. And those offset programs have evolved over the years. And so, yes, I think that we have refined the offset programs to make sure they're in tune with the moment. And so, yes, offsets are being deployed in terms of these sales.
Do you think that our military and business collaboration is caused by politics? President Biden said a number of times, and you said yesterday too, that we are the brothers in values. Yes, we are common word of values. And I think that values should be important in politics. So do you find any relation between values really protected by democracy here and our military collaboration?
Well, that is a fundamental question, Bogusław, because our military, the American military, deploys abroad not to benefit a political leader or a political party, but to defend values like democracy, rule of law, free elections, freedom of the press. That is the organizing thesis underpinning a tactical decision to deploy our military abroad.
So may I say there is no collaboration without protection of values?
Our collaboration is about protecting values, and is fundamentally oriented to protecting values. It's not oriented towards a particular person or a particular political party. It's oriented towards values that are shared and that we, the Americans, see as universal and transferable to any country in the world. That is a fundamental thesis. That is why when some of our American soldiers come to Poland, they go to the Warsaw Uprising Museum. They go to Auschwitz, Birkenau, to see how values have been trampled. That learning for our American sailors and soldiers is an important part of training.
So I can say not only brothers in arms, but also brothers in values.
Brothers in values, I would say first and foremost, even has primacy over brothers in arms. And of course there's the tactical element where we have to be able to fly a plane together, fly a helicopter together, work a tank together. But it has to be oriented towards a vision. And, you know, my late father, Zbigniew Brzeziński, used to love to teach his kids that he would say, kids, it's about vision, strategy, tactical implementation of that strategy. He says, kids, that's what a strategist does. And so for us, the Americans, the vision, the unchallengeable vision is the proliferation of shared values of democracy, rule of law, freedom of the press, free and fair elections.
As you know, we have elections, free elections pretty soon in October, and possibly we'll have a new government. Do you think that the change of rulers here will change our relations anyhow?
So first of all, let me say something about the elections on October. What an opportunity to showcase to the world that Poland is a vibrant democracy. Of course there's political differences. There's political differences in my country and how. But what an opportunity to show the world that Poland deploys free and fair elections. And I could not be more proud of the US Embassy team because I feel that we are meshed together with the government in Poland and we're meshed together with the opposition. And, you know, this is a choice of the Polish people. We will work with whomever the Polish people elect, but we work assiduously to network, get to know, to share our perspective, and to listen and learn from Poles from the left, the right, the center, across the political spectrum. That's how we do business as diplomats.
Let's speak a bit about businesses,
Okay.
because that's always a pillar for everything in our common world. How you find it in Poland today? Do you think that, you know, this new atmosphere between us fostered up business collaboration? How you find it?
So if there ever was an overlay between the commercial context and the strategic context, I see that in Poland today. Because what is happening here, despite the fact that we are on the edge of a war zone, is that American commercial and business and investment interest in Poland is thriving. I'm meeting all kinds of American business people here at the Karpaczu Economic Forum, yesterday in Kielce, and all over Poland, very interested in Poland, because why? The Polish worker is bardzo pracowity, very hardworking, I bardzo lojalny, very loyal. That's what American employers are looking for. And so you have tremendous and growing business interest in Poland. Look at Intel's investment in Wrocław, 4 billion in the semiconductor industry.
I mean, a basic today for everything, you know.
Any country would want that.
Yeah.
And Poland, Wrocław area won that. And you have to remember that Intel is a global corporation. They have investments elsewhere, and that investment will work with synchronicity with their other operations in Germany and elsewhere. So there's this kind of interdependent quality to the American investment in Poland that is so important for Poland's connectivity with its neighborhood, with its neighbors, and the world. And so I'm seeing, look, I'm bullish on Poland. I think Poland and its record, because facts speak for themselves. Poland has had a positive growth rate every year over the last 30 years except COVID year.
But we have a war behind our border, and I know that you are coming to the States from time to time, again, visiting your family, etc. And I believe that you have a number of questions from American businessmen who are aware of the war in this region. What do you answer if they ask about, safety here and secure place for businessmen?
So I do get questions from Americans about security and safety in Poland, and I say the same thing to them that I say to the Poles. Polska jest bezpieczna I Polska jest zabezpieczona. The fact is, Bogusław, that, you know, I consult with American military commanders, whether General Darrell Williams, the Chief of European Command, U.S. Army, European Command, General Cavoli, and others regularly. Our military and the Polish military and NATO have thought through every contingency that you can think of. And we have practiced and we have prepared. What's an example of that? Well, last summer, we already began to think through what would happen. What would happen if an errant missile came in from the east and Polish citizens were killed? And that's exactly what happened in Przewodów on November 15th, when an errant missile came into Poland and tragically 2 Polish farmers were killed. And just as we had practiced, just as we had consulted with the Polish government, everything happened as it should have. My president and your president connected immediately, and my president was at a conference in Asia at the time. Our national security advisor, our Secretary of Defense, our Secretary of State immediately connected with Polish counterparts to figure out jointly what had happened, to figure out how we message to our respective peoples what had happened, and third, how we collaborate and coordinate in NATO the following day regarding what had happened. And everything went with discipline and like clockwork. And our National Security Council, the U.S. National Security Council, very much complimented the Polish government for its discipline, its coherence, and its sense of responsibility at that very uncertain moment when people were saying in the media, this is the outbreak of World War III. No, it was not.
Possibly. The last question, as you know, we are financial and business newspaper. We focus a lot on the business side. And if you can list, basic warranties that American businessmen need to start working with this country, invest here. Just the basic things.
Basic things about Poland.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, look, my first time in Poland was 32 years ago. And then I went on and did other things, and now I'm back here as U.S. ambassador. I cannot overstate the capacity for modernization, for change, and for progress manifested by the Polish people. And that, to me, as a former private sector guy, because I'm a political appointee in Warsaw, as a former private sector guy, is what business looks for. They look for the ability to improvise, they look for the ability to innovate, and they look for capacity to change. My God, the reactive mobilization of the Polish people to the Ukraine crisis shows a compelling feature that business would be interested in terms of reactive mobilization. That's the kind of thing that I share with American investors. And believe me, American investors are interested that Poland is open for business.
We are just waiting for them, and we believe that new businesses will be coming, and we will be announcing about them, about these investments in our pages in Rzeczpospolita. Read Rzeczpospolita. Dziękuję bardzo.
Dziękuję bardzo, Bogusław. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.